interestingly, the talk before my last one was all about the solar flares and the solar flashes. There's a lot of focus on this at the moment, the ascension symptoms. And I started to realize that people are talking about all these like flat flares coming off the sun, and it's affecting the Schumann resonance, and it's affecting how we're feeling. And then I was like, actually, you know what? It's not flashes or flares coming off the sun. It's actually that there's another sun emerging into our realm. So like we've got these two suns that have appeared,
yes,
and they of course are affecting us for the what we've termed ascension symptoms. But all this energetic shift in the Schumann resonance, I actually think is to do with the introduction of the two suns, which links it. There is a reset, and that this, and watch the sky, because the sky is where all that like simulation's going to break down. So when we start to look at our reset timeline, always, and Campbell and I did a show about this last time, which is about all the way looking through artwork of there's pictures of 3 suns, 4 suns, 2 suns, 1 moon, 4, all this shift in how many suns are there. So, and the other part of the artwork is it's like full on armies emerging out of the suns, like huge, like beasts and armies that are coming out. So we're like, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, and what's
yes,
half the world waiting for, right? The return of
the return of the sun. What about this, the notion of the two? We talked about the two world split. You've heard of that theory and things like that. Could it be that the two worlds, or the two versions of the worlds, each has a sun, and that's what we're seeing? That's the anomaly we're seeing in the Matrix.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
That is so possible.
Because I definitely, and you know, and people of Australia said that in the prophecy that Stephen and Evan Strong were talking about the two world split, that there was actually a two world split. Dolores Cannon talks about this as well, as though the world is splitting in two. But there is this, we're not quite sure if it is an actual visible split or a vibrational split that is spliced over the top of one another, or is bleeding into one another.
It's almost like we're catching up with ourselves, isn't it? But this is the thing about all these, you know, ghosts and things, that, and, you know, cats, you know, see all this stuff, and animals, and there's all this stuff that seems to be just outside our perception, including a second sun, right? So is that, you know, we're in the same space, but on different frequencies. We just can't quite see that yet.
Well, this is, I've been dabbling in, I just came back from the UK, and I've been dabbling. This fits in with the Gnostics. A lot of people don't know, and I will do a video about this, about Gnostics. I just realized I'm a Gnostic, basically. I'm basically I'm like a modern day Gnostic. I'm a neo-Gnostic. Essentially,
define that.
Okay, so the Gnostics had this certain tenets that they all kind of subscribe to, which is that this was the false earth, and that there was a real earth, that there is a demiurge, which is not the real God, and there is the real God, which is source, and the demiurge is the God of this matrix, or is the creator of this matrix, and he was sprung from Sophia. And he was, and so we've got and then we've got the archons and all of that. And this is the stuff that I've experienced myself in these entities that have sort of invaded this false earth, this parasitic realm. And then we've got the real earth, which we're trying to get, we're trying to get back to. And their whole purpose, guess what the Gnostics did? They would do astral journeying. They would try and meditate. They would try to reach source, because they knew that source, the pure divine source, the real God, their alien God that was not this demiurge, was the source of all answers, right? And that was their endeavor. And they were also searching for the real earth, like the true earth. And that is essentially what Tartaria is. So that's my theory. My theory is that Tartaria exists in a higher frequency, and it's where we're originally from. And that's why you're seeing you're seeing the sort of like castles in the air, or places in this other realm, this other higher vibrational frequency. So that could also be the two suns as well. I do believe they talked a lot about light as well, and the Gnostics talked about that, but I'd have to go back and check. But this sort of fits in with your two sun theory.